Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihi. Amma ba'du. I greet our listening audience. Assalamu alaikum wa Ramadan Mubarak. Welcome to our Mali Ramadan sessions. We're in week 3, day 3. And we're looking at the Quranic verse from chapter 38, verse 75. And we're looking at this week the Ramadan session book. Imam W.D. Muhammad, he started the tradition that we have of during the month of Ramadan, he would have Ramadan sessions where he would teach. And those sessions have been recorded, transcribed, and Imam Rano Shaheed have them in hardback. They're in hardback, and you can purchase them from him. He has 4 volumes of all of the Ramadan sessions that were given. We're looking at volume 1, book 1, page 19 and 20. It's best to start at the beginning and read up to page 20. If you have been reading, we're at 19, 20 in the reading of the book. On the 6th day, we will look at Imam W.D. Muhammad. We'll look at the notes from the book. Yes. And we should continue with this tradition and establish it the way he had it. Perhaps Mali will bring it back to the way it should be. Our best scholars, best students of the Quran come and have our presentations and discussions. What we can call Ramadan sessions, our best. We have to have someone who doesn't have the fear to say or to invite our best. Yes. So today we're going to look at the Arabic dictionary, Lisan al-Arab. Lisan al-Arab, very, very well known, very popular, very good dictionary of the Quran. Lisan al-Arab. There are some others, but this one is well known. Lisan al-Arab. Now, for what we're doing, Ragib. We're using Ragib. Ragib is a Quranic Arabic dictionary, which I would recommend first because we're looking at the Quran and language of the Quran. Lisan al-Arab does also. You'll see he's using Quranic verses and what have you with the words. But Ragib is a good one to use. But I want to show you also Lisan al-Arab. There may be things in Lisan al-Arab that Ragib doesn't cover. And then there's a dictionary, Qamus. No, has a popular name of Qamus. Maybe before the month is out, we'll take a look at Qamus. Okay, let's get started. we're looking at the verse. It reads, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qala ya Iblisu ma mana'aka an tasjuda lima khalaqtu biyadayya astakbarta am kunta min al-alin. So now, for the students, I don't think I need to translate. This is the Ramadan session for students. All are invited for students. So now, we're going to look at two words from the dictionary, Iblis and tasjuda. We'll get these two words. Yesterday, we looked at these two words with the Quran, bil Quran. So let me go over it again. Step one. Step one, learn to read the Quran grammatically correct. Learn the grammar. That's step one. We have 5 sheets. The 5 sheets. Learn how to use the 5 sheets. A lot of books, some things I have to say. I'm going to say, I have to say, because I'm talking to my people, the students that we have first are my people. I'm talking to my people first. And I have to talk to my people in the environment that my people are in. And as I'm talking, I may be correcting, I may be analyzing situations and addressing those situations. It's not going to hurt you, but you will feel a poke every now and then. You get a little prick, but it won't hurt. But I have to say. Otherwise, I have to go outside of the environment that we're in and speak to you from another environment and bring language like this to you and bring ideas to you from another environment which would make my presentation to the group culturally biased. You've heard that term, culturally biased. So a lot of the books that we're using to teach Arabic, we find it difficult to teach and for people to learn because perhaps, I'll put it in a soft way, the books you're using are culturally biased. Yes. Well, we don't tend to do well on certain tests, the SAT, the ACT, if it still exists, I don't know. We don't seem to do well because our sociologists, our scholars who have studied the social behavior and learning of the African American find these tests culturally biased. So have you ever thought we don't do too well learning Arabic because the way it's presented to us in our environment is culturally biased? Think about it. So we have designed a method to teach Quranic Arabic without being culturally biased. So learn the language. Learn to read the Quran grammatically correct. We have the 5 sheets, and then we use the book Abu Faris. It's decent for the basics. It's decent for that. And for everything that we show, yes, there can be exceptions, but don't worry about that in the beginning. Don't worry about all of that. Then the next step I would suggest is Quran bil Quran, the way I showed yesterday. These sessions are recorded. They're recorded, and all of the work that I'm presenting in Mali is copyright. But it's recorded. It's for your use, not to sell, but it's for your use. That will allow you to have Quranic ideas and concepts of what the Quran is presenting from the Arabic text. Those are the first two steps. The next step, or the dictionary could come first, and then Quran build a Quran. Either one. The next step, you should learn to read the Arabic dictionary. Now, the Hans Word, very, very well known dictionary, Arabic English dictionary, Hans Word. Hans Word is good. It's probably the best Arabic English dictionary to use. Hans Word. I'm going to give you a poke. Get ready now. You're going to feel a poke. It won't hurt. You're going to feel a poke. Not Omar Manan for what we're doing. The dictionary by Omar Manan is not a good dictionary for what we are doing and what we're learning and what we're teaching. Hans Word is the best one for what we're doing. Okay? Hans Word. It'll save you time. I had a teacher who, one of my teachers, he had the question of all the books in the library, the city library, all the books within your lifetime, perhaps you can't read them all. So which ones do you read? Which ones do you read? If you can't read them all, which one do you read? He says, I'm going to save you money. He knew books. When it comes to reading Islamic books, he said, I'm going to save you money. Because if you don't know what to read and try to read them all, you'll spend a lot of money and you won't be able to read them all. So which ones do you read? He says you read the best books first. You always want to read the best books. Read them first, just in case you don't get a chance to read the others. So don't try to read everything. For this system that we're teaching, and the way we're teaching this system, you want to get Hans Word. Hanswer. Use that one. The other one, you're going to have problems. You're going to have problems down the road. Use Hans Word. Okay. So the Arabic dictionary, I'm showing you the best. It's a lot of them. I'm showing you the best. What's best for what we're doing. Learn to read it. Now, Hans Word, you have to understand when you're going from Arabic to English with a dictionary, it's giving you an idea. It gives you a lot of English words. It's giving you an idea about the word. When you're going to go from Hans Word to the Quran, it's giving you an idea about the word. Don't lock it in. It's giving you an idea about the word. When you read an Arabic dictionary, you get greater clarity about the word. The Arabic dictionary is better. Read the best first. It's better. Learn to read that. Now, those three sources should be a prerequisite. But I'm not the leader. I'm not the authority over anyone, so you don't have to listen to me. But they should be a prerequisite, a qualification for anyone who's teaching a religion, who calls themselves a teacher. of the religion who calls themselves a da'i, someone who goes out and teaches the religion, invite people to the religion, and they're teaching the religion, they should know how to read the Quran grammatically correct in Arabic. They should know how to utilize Quran bil Quran in the Arabic like we're showing, and they should learn how to use the Arabic dictionary, the minimum use, which I'll show today. Those three. Now, we're not going to get there tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. We're not there right now. I'm talking to my own people. I'm going to poke you with a bigger needle now. This needle is going to be a little bit bigger, so it might hurt a little bit more. But my own people, we're not there yet. Don't worry about that. You were not there yesterday. Last week you weren't there. You're not there this week. Don't worry about that. If you were pretending to be there, don't even worry about that. But that's not where we want to be 10 years from now. As a group, we want to progress. We don't want to be in the same place or worse 10 years from where we are now. So we make plans so that we will progress. So that in 10 years from now, we won't look like where we are now. We started out saying, oh, if you just could memorize 3 surahs, short surahs, that would qualify you to lead the prayer. That would qualify you. Well, some memorize 20 short surahs, usually from the back of the Quran, and that qualifies you. That may have qualified you to be a scholar amongst us. Now, 40 years later, that can't be the criteria. Not 40 years later. 50 years later, that can't be the criteria. So what I'm saying, 10 years from now, we should have qualifications, prerequisites. For you to stand before a group and say, I'm educating you in this religion, al-Islam. Political people, you shouldn't be a Muslim in political office, and you can't read the Quran. You shouldn't be a Muslim who swear in anything by the Quran and you can't read it. How can you swear in by the Quran and you can't read it? Therefore, you can't be judged by it. And you are not using it as an article of judgment. So you can't be the judge. You cannot be a Muslim judge and you can't read the Quran and you're swearing in on the Quran. You can't be a Muslim president. A Muslim president. Now you could be a Christian president and only read the Quran in English. And you say that suffices. Maybe. Perhaps. But you can't be a Muslim president and swearing on the Quran in America and you can't read it. You can't read it with these basic qualifications, reading it grammatically correct, using Quran to the Quran, and an Arabic dictionary. In 10 years from now. Yes. So somebody has to say it. Somebody has to keep driving and pushing and pushing. Yes. Without fear being ostracized. Okay, so I'm already sitting here in this room all by myself, ostracized. Now what? But this is what we should strive for. Yes. We should always strive to improve and do better. And with AI coming and the way it's growing and developing, there are no excuses. We have no excuses. Yes, let's do better. I'm encouraging. And that's why we're doing these sessions. I'm not doing these sessions to receive accolades. I'm doing these sessions to to improve our lot, to improve ourselves as a group, and advance, for us to do our mission, to complete the mission. Yes. I wait till Sunday. If you don't know what the mission is, ask me Sunday. Okay, let's continue. It's Ramadan. So let's look at Iblis. Iblis is from the root letters Ba, La, Sa. Those are the three root letters. So from that we get Ablasa. Ablasa. In terms of form. Ablasa. Now this is the dishonorable Arab. So he's saying Ablasa is Sakata. Now, if you're a beginner, first day on the job, you can stop there. You have another Arabic word that helps you, that clarifies or give you greater clarity of the word ablasa, which Iblis is perhaps a derivative. Sakata. So sakata means he became silent. He became silent. You can stop there. Now, he says, وَأَبْلَسَ مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ. Now, if ablasa means he became silent from the mercy of Allah. But that is to say, if you don't understand what he said here, what does he mean by he became silent by the mercy of Allah? See, we're taking the meaning here. Now, what you don't want to do, what you do not want to do, is go in a Hand's Word Dictionary and look up ablasa and get stuck on this meaning. Then, when you read it, it won't make sense to you. You have a problem. So, like you hear me saying ablasa. I didn't translate ablasa in English. I keep saying ablasa. Ablasa means to be silent. I translated this word, not this one. Means to be silent. Don't go in and look and say, well, this word means so-and-so, to be silent. Okay, I don't understand. That's because you went in Hand's Word, you got a word here of the many words. Now it doesn't make sense to you. So I'm showing you how to read the dictionary. Don't translate it right away. Ablasa means to be silent. Now that's all we know according to this source. At this point, all we know is ablasa means sakata. In English, it means to become silent. That's sakata. So now we're going to say ablasa. Again, I'm not going to translate, or if I translate it now, it means to be silent. There's no other word that I know that this word means, according to dishonorable Arab, other than to be silent. Here, I don't know. I don't know when I read it. Here, now I know to be silent. So I have to say to myself, then he was silent from, because it's he, Iblis says he, when you conjugate it, he was silent, that's he was silent. He was silent from the mercy of Allah. Now, he said, okay, that's not enough. I don't get it. He says, that is to say, yeah, he said. Now we have another word. So now we have sakata, and we have ya'isa. That means ya'isa wa nadima. Here's another one. Now this is a dictionary. This is not Quran, biblical Quran. This is a dictionary. He's giving you synonyms. He's giving you synonyms really of ablasa. So ya'isa. Ya'isa is to despair or lose hope. To despair. Despair or lose hope. Nadima is to regret. Be regretful. This is all given the meaning of ablasa. So now we say, let's go and put these meanings in So we would say, Iblis said, he despaired, hopeless from the mercy of Allah. He was regretful from the mercy of Allah. Yes. This is Iblis. This is given from the verb Iblis. وَمِنْهُ, and from it, سُمِّيَ إِبْلِيسَ. He was called Iblis. Or we could say Sumia Iblisu. Iblis was called. He was named Iblis. He was called Iblis. Wakana, and Ismuhu, his name was Azazel. His name was Azazel. And you may go, if for those who know the Bible, you may go and find Azazel mentioned in the Bible. I'm not going to give you the Bible story here. If you bring it up Sunday, then we will discuss the Bible story. I'm not going to go down that path right now. But I'm just saying it's in the Bible. And I believe it's in the first Leviticus. Maybe it's in Leviticus. Whichever one that's in. So it's in the Bible. It's important for what I'm going to say later. Azazel. His name was Azazel. Wafi at Tanzil al-Aziz. Now, in the Revelation, we have Yawma'i then Yublisu al-Mujrimun. Now, you notice here he's telling you it's in the Revelation, but he doesn't give you the verse. You have to learn how to go and find the verse if you want to go find the verse. So, on that day, the Mujrimun, the criminals, now we go back for this word now, we can only apply these meanings here that we know so far. The criminals were silent. The criminals were in despair. The criminals were regretful. Because that's all we have for the words right now. Now, you may stop there. You have a definition of the word, and you have an example from the Quran of the word. You can stop there. Now, let me show you. If you want to go further, now take the word, we took the word Iblis, and we used the Quran to get the conceptual meaning and contextual meaning of the word Iblis from the Quranic worldview. So we could take this meaning now. That's why I say you can use a dictionary first, do a dictionary first, and then do Quran, build a Quran, or the opposite. Now we take this meaning, Sekata, Ye'isa, Nadima, and applying it to Iblis in the contextual idea of the Quran. Stop here, and if you want to go further, you want to learn it or look, you're curious about this word Iblis, you can stop here. Because you're a beginner. You're a beginner in Arabic. So you don't have to wade through a lot. It may take you all week to get through all of this. So since you're in the beginning, you can stop at this period with this book, Lisan al-Arab. You can stop here. You can stop here. You can stop here. These are your stops when you've had enough. You can stop here. I have an idea. Let's take Sekatat and let's go back into the Quran, build Quran with Sekatat. Let's take up to here. Now we have Sekatat, Ya'isa, Nadima. We stopped here. Let's go and back into the Quran and look. Well, we stop down, and we have an example here. which we may not have used yesterday, but we're going to put that back in with the others and see how it looks. But you have to allow yourself to relax and think. It's not ABC. You have to relax and reflect. Think, reflect, ponder. Now he says, well, Iblis. Iblis now. La'natullahi. Right? The curse of Allah, we could say. The curse of Allah. Mustaqun it is a derivative from it. لأنه أبلس من رحمة الله. Now we come back to it. Because he was silenced. He was dejected. He had lost hope of the mercy of Allah. Where Isa is in the passive. Ya Isa is in the passive when we say you Isa. It's in the passive. He lost hope. Zalikum from the Quran now. I think I pulled this from the Quran. Fiskun Yawma Ya'isad. Yawma, the day. Ya'isad. The day those who disbelieve lost hope, despaired. Ablasa. You see that? In the context. They became Iblis. When Iblis lost hope. Min dinikum, of your religion. فَلَا تَخْشَوْهُمْ, so don't fear them. Don't humble yourselves before them. الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا وَخْشَوْنِي, and fear me. Humble yourself to me. الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ, today I have completed for you your religion. وَأَتْمَمْتُ, and I have completed, I have perfected, if you want to say perfected. Complete, perfected, complete. Another word, atmamtu, alaykum ni'mati, my favor. I've completed upon you my favor. Raditu. Now you know in Al-Fatiha, we ask Allah to favor us. In Al-Fatiha, favor us. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. Sirat al-ladina an'amta, ni'ma. An'amta, and Allah said, I have completed my favor. And I prefer, right, for you, al-Islam deenan, as a religion. Al-Islam as a religion. Yes. But we're talking about, for that, Iblis. Now we can say those who disbelieve. Those who disbelieve is carrying in them, if we take from yesterday, this Iblis principle is operating in them, in the disbelievers. And they will despair on the day that we accept Al-Islam as a religion. Now, وقال Abu Ishaq. Abu Ishaq says, لم يصرفوا لم يصرف. These are my mistakes. لم يصرف it should be. لم يصرف. Meaning that it's not declinable, or it doesn't take inflection. This word Iblis, it doesn't take inflection, meaning that for the students, you would know it's a diptote. It takes a dhamma and a feta. It doesn't take tanween. That's what it means by lam yusarrif. It's a diptote. It doesn't take tanween. لأنه, because it is ajamiyu ma'rifa. It's a foreign word. It's from a foreign language. Let me talk about this for a minute. So ajami. Ajami is, I'm going to give it from the Quranic perspective now. Just from the Quranic worldview, ajami are those words, well, not just Quran, of the words that are not purely Arabic. They're not purely Arabic words. They're ajami. We say that they're foreign. They're foreign to Arabic. I say that first. They're foreign to pure Arabic words. So Iblis is not pure Arabic. It's not pure Arabic, but it's taken from another language, perhaps that was in the environment of Mecca. Mecca was a trade route. It's along a trade route, so people stopped in Mecca. When you have a trade route, a lot of different kinds of people comes through. You will find that countries that were on the border, a lot of border countries, because of the trade, if they were a trade route, a sea route, people of different cultures, languages, and all were collecting these places because they were traders. They travel, and they travel from city to city, from place to place, with goods and trade and whatever, they do their trading. So the people who lived on near water coast, especially, and they were trade routes, they were more aware, let's say, more aware or more educated or more advanced in their thinking than the people who live inland. You will find that in history. The people inland, because the people inland, they did not come in contact with other people and other ideas. The Arabs were a people the Arabs are people who lived in the desert. And because they lived in the desert and wandered in the desert, the Bedouin, well, they didn't come in contact with foreigners, people that were foreign to them, so their language had less chance or opportunity to become mixed, the Bedouin. So they would speak a pure Arabic language. The Bedouin would, because he didn't come in contact with other people. But in Mecca, there are other people that came through Mecca because it was a trade route. And so there were other languages. There was Hebrew, you will find. So there are a lot of Hebrew words of origin in the Quran. There are a lot of Ethiopian words of origin in the Quran because of the close proximity and the people that were in Mecca. There were Ethiopians, there were Hebrew and others, Aramaic. So this is all, these words now of origin of those languages are in the Quran. So Iblis is not a purely Arabic word, is what he's saying here. Abu Ishaq is saying. I'm going to give you the argument, the discussion on it. It's not purely Arabic because it comes from another language. Perhaps Now, I would be guessing, so I'm just saying I'm guessing without the research. Because here the author is saying his name is Azazel, and you will find Azazel in the Bible, it probably came from one of those, the language of the Bible, which was perhaps not a purely Arabic language. Maybe it comes from Hebrew, Iblis. Since he's associating Iblis with Azazel. Now, I'm saying this now, not to say I've researched it. I'm saying this to say this will begin my research if I want to see where the word Iblis comes from. Let's go to the Bible. And let's see what language it was in, Azazel. And then let's see if the scholar who wrote a book on foreign words in the Quran, did he mention Iblis? That's a good start. I'm saying to you. Now, here's the discussion. That's one side, like Abu Ishaq. He said it's Ajami. Now, in the Quran, there's a verse. And it's saying, is this book, is it Ajami and Arabi? Because if there are words in here that the Quraysh, we don't know these words. Some words the Quraysh didn't know. Some words the Arabs didn't know because they're of another language. And maybe they didn't use the words. Maybe they did. But now if you say the Quran is purely Arabic, it's an Arabic Quran. It's not an Ajami Quran. And it's not a Quran that's Arabic and Ajami. You have to go to the verse. The verse itself will require a discussion for a while. So, because they're asking, well, why didn't Allah have a Quran in Ajami and Arabi? Why don't he reveal the Arabic Quran in the Arabic language, pure Arabic language, and then why didn't he reveal a Quran in Hebrew language? And why didn't he reveal the Quran in Ethiopian language? Why are these words mixed in the Quran that the Quran appears Arabiyyun wa Ajamiyyun? But it says it's Arabiyyun. So one discussion comes to the conclusion that these, like I'm saying earlier, these are letters, and this is why I was saying this earlier also in our presentations. They're words that were in the environment. When they come into the Quran, into the world view of the Quran, they become Arabicized and they become pure Arabic of the Quran. And it may take a shift in the meaning because now they're in a new world environment. And the Quran is a language of its own. It's an Arabic language of its own. It's something that's higher than even the Bedouin Arabic. But the Bedouin spoke because Allah challenges them, the Bedouin, the one who speaks the most perfect eloquence of the Arabic language, to challenge them, if you can say one verse better, try it. Saying that this language now is purely Arabic. It's the standard of all Arabic language, and the words in it are Quranic Arabic words, even though it came from Hebrew, Aramaic, or Ethiopian, what have you, Habashi. Even though it comes from there, from that environment, to communicate to all the people in that environment, yes, is now purely Arabic. Quranic is Quranic Arabic. It's not Quraysh Arabic. It's not Bedouin Arabic. It's Quranic Arabic now. That's what we call it, Quranic Arabic. Now, that's one argument. The other argument is that, or discussion, is that these words, like Iblis, these words were originally, in their origin, were purely Arabic words that were borrowed by the Hebrew. They were borrowed into the Hebrew language, or they were borrowed into the Ethiopian language. They were borrowed into the Aramaic language. They borrowed the word from the pure Arabic. Then it comes back into the Quran, and its origin is pure Arabic. Therefore, the Quran is pure Arabic. Those are the two discussions. Yes. So that's why I would conclude that words and expressions and phrases that were used in the environment, in Muhammad the Prophet's environment, they are in the Quran. When they come into the Quran now, they take a shift. And they take a shift in the context, which shifts the meanings of them, so forth and so on, and they become purely Quranic Arabic words. They take a shift. So what you're going to find in a dictionary now, when you read a dictionary, they're going to give you, and pay attention with Raga, because it's the Quranic Arabic dictionary. If you look, as you advance and you look closely, he's going to give you the origin of a word. He's going to give you the Arabic origin, outside of Quranic Arabic. The Arabic origin of this word from the people and the environment. Then you're going to look at how this word comes into the Quran and how the origin of the meaning shifts. For example, we read Darlene every day. Darlene. And Darlene, in its origin, is a camel that's lost in the desert. He's Dola. It was applying to a camel that's lost in the desert. Now, that same word now, it comes into the Quran. Now we read it in the Quran, Darlene, we're not talking about a camel lost in the desert. It shifts. The context is shifting. Because the context shifts, the meaning shifts. There's a shift in the meaning. Now, when I say that to you today, you say, what is he talking about? That word doesn't have anything to do with the camel. In its origin, it did. You know, but the origin of the word does have implications to the Quranic usage of the word. Because now, the camel is your guide. You're asking for guidance. Ihdina, ihdina, ihdina. In Al-Fatiha, it's a dua. The dua is ihdina. Guide us. Guide us. And the opposite of guidance is dola. The camel is your guide. The camel knows where the water is. You don't know where the water is. The camel will lead you. It will guide you. In the desert, there are no street signs. So it's your guide. Now, think about it. Your guide is lost. That means you're really lost. You have no guide. Now let's take this conceptual idea of the camel, take that word, let's put it in the Quran now. We're talking about a people who are lost now. a people who are lost. They're not guided. They have no guide. They have no guide. And they don't know the way. Yes. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. So this is Iblis. Iblis, the word Iblis. We're talking about the word Iblis. Yes. Now you can take all of that. I mean, that's what he's saying here. Let's leave it there. Let's leave it there. Okay. Let's go to the next. Yes. This is the Quran. We're studying Quran now. Quranic Arabic language. We're studying the language, the Quran. It helps us. It helps us. It brings clarification. Yes. After a while, we will have it that you should know how to read. If you're going to teach the religion, and we should have someone in every masjid, starting with our people in our group, we should have someone in every masjid that can read the Quran from the Arabic text with comprehension to help the people understand the Quran. It should be in every masjid. We should have that. Now let's look at Yes Judah. The root letters are Sajadah. Sajadah. So this shit came down here. Sajadah. As Sajidu, he's saying, Ibn Sa'idihi, he's the son of his master, he's saying. Sajada, Yasjudu, Sujudan. He's giving you the past tense, Sajada. If you look at your sheet, Sajada. The present tense, Yasjudu. Then, because you know the present tense has a dhamma on the ain, you follow the pattern, the command will be usjud. Usjud. That's the command. Past, present, command. Now the three nouns, internal, active, passive. He's giving you the internal form one because the internal form one has over 40 different forms. So he's giving you one of them right here. He's giving you sujud. Sujud. Now you have internal noun. The active noun will be sajidun. This is the active noun. Sajidun. And the passive will be masjud. Sometimes there are words, Arabic words, that are not. We're looking at the Quran now. The Quran vocabulary is not big. It's not a big vocabulary. And the Quranic vocabulary doesn't change. You can't go in the Quran and change the words. You can't say, oh, I don't like this word, I'm going to change it. I feel better about this, I'm going to change it. Well, this verse here is a little ambiguous, so we're going to change the words and make it say the same thing, but easier to read. You can't do that. You can't do that with the Quran. Not with Quranic Arabic. You can't change it. So the Quranic Arabic language doesn't change. The wording doesn't change. The phrases, it doesn't change. Now, outside of the Quran, the social, I'm going to call it the social Arabic language, it changes. Meanings of words changes because they come into a new time, a new place, new circumstance, which brings about a new environment, word environment. So those words are shifting in the new time and place. The words are shifting how they're used socially, and the meanings they're given to them, and the meanings that are, I would say, popularizing the word. So it shifts. The word environment grows. So if something happens, occurs in the environment, if an object comes into the environment, you can take this sheet that we have, and you can coin a word that you didn't have before in Arabic. Sometimes they'll coin a word of what the thing does, like a telephone. You take telephone, and they will take what the telephone does and coin an Arabic word to mean telephone. They call it coining words, coining, C-O-I-N, coining words. And it becomes the word for telephone. Or sometimes when they borrow an object, see, the object telephone was not in the environment. The object telephone was not in the environment of Muhammad the Prophet. Praise and peace be upon him. It wasn't in the environment. So the particular word for telephone perhaps is not in the Arabic language because they didn't have that object. But you may take a word that means what the telephone does and coin it. Now that particular word is the word for telephone. Language. We're talking language. The human being, the social life, and language. So now we've added a word to the vocabulary of the one who speaks Arabic. We've added a word. We're going to add another word. We're going to see an action. We'll see an action. We've never seen that action before. So because of what we're seeing, we're going to coin a word. And circumstances, new circumstances, all of this. So we're coining words so the Arabic language is growing. It's growing in words and vocabulary, phrases and usage. But the Quran is not. The vocabulary of the Quran doesn't grow. It stays the same. Now what we're doing, we're trying to read the Quran and look at these dictionaries and knowledge. We're trying to go back in tafsir, see what the original person was thinking when this verse was revealed. See what the people close to that time period, what were they seeing when this was revealed. Now we're in a a later time, a later place. How do we see it now without corrupting the Quran itself? Some people will say, no, don't touch it. Whatever Ibn Abbas said, that's it. Don't touch it. It means that, nothing else. Khalas. And others go and read and say, no. Ibn Abbas didn't have the science we have now. Ibn Abbas didn't have that. Now when we look at this word, we're not taking the Quran out of its language, but we're taking the Quran out of its application and perhaps a more advanced meaning when we go back and read again, because in the natural world, we have more knowledge. These are discussions that we have today dealing with language. But my point is, the words of the Quran doesn't change. You can have different perspectives, different meanings, application, but it doesn't change. The words in the social environment changes. So what we're studying, we're concentrating on Quranic Arabic, not just any Arabic. It's Quranic Arabic, not spoken Arabic, not the social language, not looking at the social language of Arabic. If that's your interest, good, but that's not what we're doing. So we concentrate on Arabic vocabulary. And then we look at the Quran, build the Quran to give us a greater contextual idea of Quranic Arabic. It's a lot. It's big. But we have to take it in steps. So that's sajada, yasjudu, sujudan. These things are triggering me to say things, and like I'm saying, I'm not looking at the clock, so I'm speaking from it. We'll come back to it. I have to say this in every presentation, just in case you didn't hear all the other presentations. Now he's going to give the meaning. Wada'a jabhatahu bil ardi. He placed his face with upon this B. Make it make sense for the students. Make it make sense. He put his face, we would say, on the earth. In the earth, by the earth, with the earth. But the idea is he put his face on the earth. Now, that gives us a pictorial of Sajada. Now, let me give you something to reflect on and think about. He's given the definition of Sajada. Yes, you do. Sujud. He's given you the definition of it. But when we looked at this word, Quran, Bil Quran, did it mention placing the face upon the earth? Now let's go in the Quran and find, can we find this idea of putting your face on the earth for the word sujood? Now what we will do, using Quran, Bil Quran now. I'm giving it, you can do it as an assignment if you want and bring it Sunday, that can we get this idea from the Quran? We want to look to see if this word and any of its derivatives, sajada, and any derivative, is associated with the derivative, with the a wording in the Quran of putting the face on the earth. So we got to go look up face. Let's look face in the concordance. That's why the concordance are good. We'll look at face, see if sujood is mentioned with the face, and let's look at the earth. Let's see if we can find the face and the earth in a verse, and find the word sajda with it. Then we could see how he extracted. We extract the meaning of sajda is putting the face on the earth. Quranically speaking now, we know this word sujood is in the form of what we would say prostration. But we want a Quranic worldview of this word. Or we take this idea of putting the face on the earth and go back and look at the conceptual idea of sajda that we have and see how this meaning fits into the conceptual idea of sajda or sujood that we saw yesterday with Quran Bil Quran. I'm suggesting how to use the dictionary and Quran Bil Quran together to give you clarity and give you a foundation to present the religion in its correct form. We have to do this a lot, and we will be doing more on Thursdays. We make presentations after Ramadan every Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We have to teach, and keep teaching to grow, to develop, and grow. And then we have the classes to get into the details. Yes. Now, we've been doing the Quranic Arabic for maybe 12 years, over 12 years, I guess. We have now a 12th conference coming up, 12th annual conference. So we started before the conference. So, and for a couple of years there, we had COVID. So, 16 years. Now I'm going to give a shout out to a young lady. I just saw her sister. This is to the Abdullah family, Latoya and her girls. That's how I'm going to define them, Latoya and her girls. One of them were born when we first started Mali. So I said, I'm going to use her birth as the event that occurred. So we have to, this is why one day she'll become one of the ancestors. That we'll remember her in her birth. And that's how we will remember when Mali started. Now, one of them just had a birthday. It's not the oldest one. One of them have turned 10. And her name, she has Mali in her name. What I saw it on Facebook. She had Mali. She had the first name and then Mali. So that one's named Mali. So the girls. Just take all the girls. These girls, If you want to know when Molly started, ask LaToya what's the age of her oldest girl. And she become the icon. She become the icon of Molly. The one named Molly and the one that was born. That's how I know. See, I'm confused how many years it's been. But my mind goes to the daughter. I think she had her 16th birthday. So we've been 16 years. That's how I tell. I use an event. I don't have the calendar. I can't count. Muhammad the Prophet said it, and it's still true. Your people, you don't count. You don't count. So fast when you see it. Break your fast when you see it. You don't count. That's the foundation of it. He didn't say don't calculate. You don't know how to calculate. And you still don't know how to calculate. Cite your crescent. Count 30 nights. Next day is the Eid. Otherwise, it's going to be impractical. But I'm giving you what he was saying at that time in that environment. So yes, I still can't. I don't remember the month. I can't remember the month, the day, the year, but I remember that event. I remember that event. So I said I'll use her. So I'll remember when Molly started. One of them were born, and one of them had the name Molly. Yes. Alhamdulillah. So if you ever want an icon or a symbol of Molly, we have to get LaToya's permission. Well, she's 16. A couple of years, we have to get her permission to use her picture. Get both of them permission. One named Molly, and the other, and then we have to add all of them. That's, I'll get the whole family. The whole family. That's the picture or icon of Molly. That's how we'll know. Otherwise, how do we know? How can we remember? Yes, a shout out. Alhamdulillah. Now I have to remember their names. Yes, so how do we get there? I don't know. Yes, we're going to be teaching all the times. Now, وَقَامُوا سُجَّدًا, so the people of Sajda, the people of Sujjad, another internal noun, what sujud. They put their face on the ground, on the earth. وَقَالُهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ, so he's saying the Most High, وَخَرُّوا لَهُ سُجَّدًا, so fall to him in terms of sujadan, in terms of putting your face on the ground, on the earth. Because that's the definition we have now. We're not going to leave that definition. That's the definition. Kharu lahu sujadan. Fall to him by placing your face on the earth, on the ground. Hada sujud i'zamin. This is the sujud of i'zam, glorification, let's say. I'zam. La sujudu is not the sujud ibadatin. It's not the sujud of ibadah. It's not the sujud of worship. لِأَنَّ بَنِي يَعْقُوبَ, because the children of Jacob, لَمْ يَكُونُوا, they were not making sujood to other than Allah Azza wa Jalla. They didn't do that. So this placing, this saying to them to fall down, we would say fall down in prostration. But the prostration has to be the main objective of prostration is putting the face on the ground. Yes, it was Adam. Now, let's talk about this for a second. We're getting lessons. This is Ramadan. So we talked yesterday about the stars, the moon, the sun, the Kaaba, Adam, being objects of prostration, let's say. Let me put it in that light. But you're not prostrating to those things. You are submitting or prostrating to Allah, because the children of Jacob, they weren't used to prostrating to anything other than Allah. You're going to see discussion, but I just want to take a break and discuss. Then we go further, and you'll see. So, but we still have this. It's I'dhan because of their because here Joseph is in a situation now, is in a place that of them not glorifying Joseph so much so as they are glorifying Allah. They're not worshiping Joseph, they're worshiping Allah, but they're making sajda to Joseph. The same as the angels told to make sajda to Adam. The same as we make sajda to the Kaaba. The Kaaba is i'zam in terms of the Kaaba. It's not ibadah. We don't worship the Kaaba, but we recognize the Kaaba in its greatness as a symbol. Yes. Now, do we have that today? We still have something similar to that today. We don't go all the way down and put our face on the ground. We don't go all the way down. But we do have bowing, the idea of bowing, ruku. Now, for example, when I was in Ghana, I saw when they greet, in terms of, we're talking about this word yavam now, not ibadah, because this we don't do. We don't bow or prostrate to another person, individual, or object, or anything other than Allah in terms of ibadah. But we do have it in terms of Islam. Yes. So, when I was in Ghana, in our environment, I haven't seen it. I've seen some things, but not this. In Ghana, when I saw them greet the chief of the people, they would bow. Or they would bow to him in a way when they greet him. And he would say something back, and they would get up. The young people, because their knees are so flexible, they will bow lower. They get down from the knee. They don't go all the way into prostration now, but they'll stoop down in the knees and they bow their head down when they greet him. They do that. Some of them in a hurry, they go halfway down, they bow, but that's how they greeted him. Everybody was greeting him like that. So I'm going to observe it. But it's an act of Islam. Yes. You're showing respect for someone that's you're honoring, showing honor and respect to someone that's above you. I put in those words. So now, that's there. Now here, some of us, an American, we won't do that. We don't do that. But as an American, you will see in America, when someone goes to shake hands, and the one who's in a position of respect, authority, respect, so forth and so on, the person will bow his head a little. He will lower his gaze. He won't greet him eye to eye. The one who's in the lower position, let's say, he will lower his gaze to the one that's higher out of respect. For example, now we're talking in America. You will find in other places, you will find where when a son greets his father, he won't look his father eye to eye. That we say toe to toe, eye to eye. He won't do that. Out of respect for the father, he may lower his gaze. That's as far as his sujood will go. It would only go showing sujood and submission, that he in submission to the position, to the honor. I submit to the honor of my father. He may lower his gaze. He may lower his head somewhat, bow his head to show that respect. Yes. Sometimes you'll see leaders greet each other. One will bow his head somewhat, the other will bow his head back in the greeting. Watch closely. But there's some that will look eye to eye. Now look at our history. In our history, as slaves in America, you could not look the white man in eye to eye. You couldn't greet him eye to eye. You had to bow your head. You had to lower your gaze, forcing you to have respect and honor for him. Now, in the time of freedom, we won't do that. Now we teach, look eye to eye. Don't bow your head to nobody. Don't show respect to nobody. Meet everybody equal, even your own father. Some teach like that. Some fathers teach like that. And some of us don't know any better. We don't have tradition. We don't have these honorable traditions. We wonder why maybe nobody respects anybody. We don't have it in our. Now this is the humbling. You think the person who's bowing is humbling themselves to the person that they're bowing to. So here's the experience I had. So now they honor me as a chief. The day of, when they heard the news, especially the young people, because they can make it more dramatic than the older people. Older people don't have the needs to do what the young people do. When the young people knew I was the chief, that's how they greeted me. No, I didn't feel proud, I felt humble. I was too humble, and the person wouldn't get up. The chief of the people say, slave, she's not going to get up until you say, he gave me a word to say. That's not the way she was going to get up. I can say, no, don't do that. No, she's not going to get up. So he gave me the word they say, then she gets up. It put me in a very humble situation. Yes. But is it due to ibadah? No. It has nothing to do with ibadah. It has something to do with i'zam. Yes. So if you greet someone like that, it has to do with i'zam, not ibadah. Yes. In the end, I'll give another story if I remember. Let's go. So Qala az-Zajjaj, az-Zajjaj, he said, Innahu kana min sunnati ta'zim fi dhalika al-waqti. He said that it is from the sunnah of ta'zim, Ivan, from ta'zim in that time, right? That here you would make sajda to mu'azzam, lil mu'azzam, for the idea of respect. I would say respect and honor. The greatness of respect and honor. That's what it was. Now, let me say this before I go on. Now, we don't do that, perhaps. Now, Muslims do it, but we don't do that as Muslims because of the corruption that has occurred with man. We could say that we don't do that because of corruption, and if you don't have the knowledge of it, you would think that that person is an object of worship. You would think that Iblis refused because Adam, he was saying Adam is an object of worship for the angels. But that's not what it's saying. If we have that idea, that's not what it's saying. But if we lose that, what it's saying in that gesture, in that symbolic gesture, if you lose the knowledge of it and put in the environment the idea that God has a son, a human being son, that there's a flesh and blood, Bashadun, who shares in the Godhead. If you put that in the environment, then that corrupts the whole sunnah of Tawheen, because the people will misassociate that, confuse that with the idea of ibadah more so than the idea of i'adha. So we take it out. So we don't have that confusion, because you put something in the environment that's not correct. When you say so-and-so has come in the person of God now, that God has sent him, now you feel as though by bowing to that person, you're bowing in worship, not in i'adha. So it's a thin line between the two. So now the question comes that we'll discuss on Sunday. Here's a discussion for Sunday. When the Jummah has started, and Jummah is the khutbah. You have 2 rakats represented in the khutbah, where you have the teaching from the way of Abraham, who stood teaching. Yes. And then you have 2 rakats for sajda, making sajda. So technically, when the imam starts the khutbah, you're in the first 2 rakats. You're in the first 2 rakats, because he gives two presentations. So those are the 2 rakats. So you're already in the prayer when you come into the masjid, if he's talking. The question becomes, now, do you make sujood? Do you have the greeting to the masjid? Do you have the sunnah prayer that you make while the imam is giving the khutbah and he's standing in front? That's the question. Do you make the sujood then? In terms of what we're discussing now. That's the question to think about for Sunday. Qala wakila, he said, and it said, Kharu lahu sujadan. I kharu lillahi sujadan. We're discussing about Joseph. We talked about the angels and Adam. Now we're talking about Joseph and Iblis and Adam. Now we're talking about Joseph in the Quran. So he said no. When he says Kharu lahu sujadan, that is to say Kharu lillahi sujadan, not Joseph. As Hari has said, he says, هذا قول الحسن وأشبه بظاهر الكتاب. It's said by Hassan and those who are uh, uh, similar in the manifestation of Scripture, who know Scripture well, those who know Scripture. He said, "Ennahum sajadu liyusuf." They are saying that they made sajda to Joseph. See, that's the discussion. Some saying they made sajda to Allah, but according to the clear reading of the Scripture, they made prostration to Joseph. And it's indicated in the saying when Joseph, in his vision, the first vision of Joseph, which he says he saw them. He saw them when he said, he saw them making prostration to him. Joseph saw them making prostration to him when he said, Inni ra'aytu ahada ashara kawkaban. When I saw 11 stars. Washamsa, the sun, wal kamara, and the moon, ra'aytuhum, I saw them, li to me sajidin. Those who make prostration. So he's saying they made prostration to Joseph. Some are saying when you read it, it's saying make prostration to him, meaning to Allah. Yes. See, harulahu. Make prostration to him. He's saying this him is Allah. Doesn't say no, the him is Joseph, because Joseph already mentioned it in his vision. فَظَاهِرُ التَّلَاوَةِ أَنَّهُمْ سَجَدُوا لِيُوسُفَ تَعْظِيمًا. So they're just saying that even in the Scripture, if it's written that way and you read it that way, then it's still under the idea of ta'zim, not ibadah. Because they didn't make associations with Allah in anything. And we have to understand that. We don't, if someone does that, if they lower their gaze, bow their head, they're not making prostration in any form, bowing in any form to you in worship, only in the idea of ta'zim, respect and honor. You have to know the difference. Don't get it twisted that now you're the God. Don't get it twisted. The same as, and someone made a note to me, now they say, well, you're reading Ibn Arabi, and Ibn Arabi committed shirk. He said such and such. I'm saying, well, okay, I haven't seen it, but when I run into it, we'll fix it. But they haven't studied it to say that. We'll fix it. Not throw everything out. But did you read where Ibn Arabi is saying, before you get into this, you have to have tanzih. You have to know that the language that we're using is not a language of shirk. The act that we're doing is not an act of shirk. But there's a thin line because our language, the language, is difficult to express this idea, this high idea. In expressing this high idea, you may think we're committing shirk. Then, who translated the work? Who did you hear saying this? Because Ibn Arabi is not a man who commits shirk. They accused Imam David Muhammad of committing shirk. He's not a man who commits shirk. Language. It's language. So you have to be clear on the language and the idea that's being transmitted. You have to be clear on the act. Don't get it twisted. Yes. That now I will respect nobody. I'll show nobody respect Don't get it twisted. وَكَأَنَّهُمْ لَمْ يَكُونُوا نَهُ عَنْ سُجُودُ لِغَيْرِ اللَّهِ. As if or because they did not make prostration to anyone other than Allah. We have said it. Okay. Now, let's go to one more piece. Very important in what we're saying. How do we show honor and respect in our community without someone thinking you worship the person? And that's how people come to us sometimes. We show honor and respect and very proud of a leader that we have had. And we're very proud and honor and respect the body of knowledge that he has left. And we teach and learn from it and seek to understand it. Yes. Not ibadah, but ta'zim. وَفِيهِ وَجْهٌ. And another view, just another view from the people of the Arabic. وَهُوَ أَنْ يَجْعَلَ الْلَامَ. This lamb now. The lamb in his saying, خَارُوا لَهُ. The lamb here, we're talking grammar now. The lamb in خَارُوا لَهُ سُجَدًا. This lamb he's saying, and in the رَأَيْتُهُمْ لِي. When he says li, the lamb here. رَأَيْتُ سَاجِدِينَ. They are to me sajidin. This lamb here. He says it's the lamb in ajlan, the lamb of purpose. Ma'na, the meaning is kharu min ajlihi sujadan. Sujadan lillahi. Shukran. Is fall, kharu, fall in my ear. For the purpose of making sajda to Allah. This is how it will be understood. He's saying here. Fall for the purpose of making sajda to Allah in terms of showing gratitude for what Allah has favored upon them when he brought them all together. And he turned to them and forgave them of their sins. Talking to the brothers of Joseph. And strengthen them, strengthen the group, strengthen them, and expanded Joseph. Alayhi salam. Yes. One other experience I had as a young man. We're talking about honor, respect, having this honor, respect, and demonstrating and showing it in a gesture without someone thinking you worship them. You admire them. They become an object of worship. It's very, very important. As Muslims in this society that we're in, we don't want to be a people who say, I don't have to respect nobody. I don't have to admire nobody. I don't have to show honor to nobody. And perhaps we have a lot of our young men are in prison because they don't respect nobody. They don't honor anybody. They don't follow rules. They don't follow regulations. They don't follow policy. So I grew up, and they have this gym in Detroit, very, very well-known, famous gym, called St. Cecilia. St. Cecilia Gym. Anybody back in the day, maybe even today, you mentioned St. Cecilia. If you played at St. Cecilia, I mean, that's where you got your name. Now, the first time I went, second time I went. First time I went, I with my friend. I went there once. It was a Saturday, and I went in Washington. He says, "Hey, hey, I'm telling you now, he ran the gym. If I catch you admiring anybody in here, I'm kicking you out. He said, are you a ball player? I said, yes. He said, okay. If I catch you admiring anybody in here, because you recognize I was new, if I catch you recognizing anybody in here, admiring them, I'm kicking you out. It's not that kind of place. Because you had guys like Dave Bean, Jimmy Walker, Bob Lanier. Those are the Pistons guys were there, the pro guys. Other guys in the pro would come home and play, Kezzie Russell and others. You can't be caught. One of the Temptations used to come to play all the time. You can't be caught admiring them. You can't go up to them like you admire them. You can't do it. If so, you get kicked out. You couldn't do it. In that sense, in that place, they didn't want it. Because the message was, you can be as good as them. You can be as great as them. This is the gym for you to come in and make your name. So don't do that to them. Now, there's ways of honoring them without going up asking for autographs or rushing over to them and, hey, there's Dave Bean, and everybody rushes over to him. No, you couldn't do that in that place. Now, I saw something one day. We're talking about admiration, respect, and honor and all of this. Ta'zim. We're talking about ta'zim. And there, you couldn't practice ta'zim in that form. You couldn't have, of course, not ibadah, but not even ta'zim was allowed. And that's how it was. Now, we were in a masjid one time, in a group, and Muhammad Ali walks in. And while Imam W. Muhammad is talking, he's talking, Muhammad Ali walks in, and people were getting up. We're sitting on the floor. They were getting up, and they began to go and gather around Muhammad Ali when he comes in, disturbing the speech, not paying attention to the speech. Not out of ibadah, out of ta'zim. But even at that moment, you would say, no, don't even practice ta'zim at that moment. I'm just giving you that in conclusion for our discussion about ibadah and ta'zim, coming in the masjid, making the sunnah prayers while the imam is giving the khutbah. That's a discussion. Plus you have homework. Discussion for Sunday. I thank you for your time. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa Ramadan Mubarak.